This is a special edition upload of The Game Sports Show, broadcasted through thegamesportshow.com, Spotify Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, the Podbean platform, including Facebook and Instagram. This bonus content is brought to you by Compass Imaging Group and Demansky Office Interiors. We are thankful that you are tuned into the game with these special edition uploads being broadcasted or recorded outside of the show's usual schedule, but we will caution the listeners that viewer discretion is advised in terms of potential language that may be offensive. Otherwise, we warn you to be prepared for some electric content that the Game Sports Show always provides. Now, let's send it over to David McCaig Jr. and the crew in the Game Sports Show studio.
Booyah, and it's time for the Game Sports Show, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. It is your host, David McCaig, and this is yet another special edition upload here on the Game Sports Show. You're listening to the game on thegamesportshow.com with your various media and social media platforms, Spotify, Apple, Podbean, Facebook, and or Instagram. And this special edition upload is, of course, brought to you by Compass Imaging Group and Demansky Office Interiors. Make sure you check out our social media links and Compass and Demansky social media links, as they have many sale options going on right now. Make sure you contact them to meet your needs and expectations. The Game Sports Show is also powered by our broadcast partners, ESPN 1400 Sovereign Communications, and on TV. And you can check out previous editions of the Game Sports Show on our website and all of our platforms. And also shout out to all of our additional sponsors: Northern Superior Brewing Company, Sports Center Bar and Grill, North Shore Sports and Auto, Northern Critters in Need, Thrush Creative Co. as well. Make sure you check out all of those lovely sponsors and support local here in Sault Ste. Marie, obviously. And once again, thank you very much for joining us for this special edition upload. I'm Dave. As I mentioned at the top, I got my co-host through these special edition uploads, Brendan Brooks. Brooksy, how you doing?
How's it going?
Good. Glad to have you back, my friend, for another special edition upload. We've had some good ones. As of late, we have some good ones coming up, but of course, we have a treat here for tonight's edition of the Game Sports Show special edition, the one and only. And I'm going to give him this introduction. Usually I go through a whole list of facts, and I'm just going to keep it simple with this one. Obviously, he is a former professional hockey player. He's played major, junior, and him and I actually share a same name of sorts. Obviously, his first name is Russ. My middle name is Russ. So I thought I would share that right off the hop. It's the one only Russ Moyer. Russ, thank you very much for joining us here tonight.
Oh, thanks for having me.
That's the introduction I have to give. That's the special introduction.
Oh, there's not many Russes, so that's good. That's good. That's a good start anyways.
That is. It's definitely a great name, I must say.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
And special announcement before we get into all the fun stuff here tonight. The Game Sports Show officially has kind of been expanded of sorts, and that is that we have a full brand name now. Now, you're wondering what that is. I'm just going to keep it short and sweet with this. The Game Entertainment and Media Company has just officially got trademarked today, aka acronym GEM. So the Game Entertainment and Media, bringing you the Game Sports Show, brought to you by the Game Entertainment and Media and ESPN 1400. So that's some good stuff. We'll get to more of that once we have a official news show on the Game Sports Show. Now, Russ, let's get into the interview. I want to say right now, how are you doing? How is the COVID-19 treating you? How is life treating you right now? And obviously, you had some great playing experiences. We're going to jump into all that. But right now, are you in North Bay in your hometown right now, or are you elsewhere?
Yeah, I'm living in North Bay. So North Bay's been pretty relatively untouched. Like, we're still practicing all the recommendations and everything, but for the most part, I think we've only had maybe 10 or 15 cases throughout the whole city. So with the exception of being able to get together with some buddies and having some beers, it's been more or less status quo.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? You need to find a way to have beers somehow, right?
Oh.
I'm glad you didn't ask me, Dave. Because I am on lockdown right now. I had just had the test done, and I cannot leave my home.
Oh, that's fun fact. There's breaking news. Hopefully that Brooks,
terrible news.
Hopefully you don't crack that, as you say, under 20 list that's going on here in the Oklahoma region.
I'll let you know if I'm alive after Tuesday.
Okay, that hopefully. Now, obviously, Russ, you played. Let's start with the Ontario Hockey League right away. Let's jump right into the meat and potatoes. Obviously, the Ontario Hockey League Alumni Association follows us on our Facebook page. We follow them. We support everything as such for each other. And it's great. The last previous editions that we've had, all of them have played in the Ontario Hockey League. You have familiarity playing the Ontario Hockey League in Ottawa for the 67s. You spent 4 years there in Ottawa. Then you went over to play at Acadia University. We'll just start with OHL. When you started with the OHL, how did you feel when you got underway? Number one. Number two, what do you see that's different today than what there was when you played?
Well, I remember when I went, I guess my first training camp, I think I went for a couple days and I was ready. I was packing my stuff up and then Killer said, no, you're staying here. So I didn't think I was ready, but I guess he did. Yeah, it was 4 wild years. I mean, hockey's changed a lot, especially at the junior level from when we started playing. I mean, we, can almost probably shouldn't even repeat or tell stories of what happened on the buses.
You got to give us one.
Well, I mean, it probably goes without saying that everybody knew that we were winners lots of the time, and when we won, we got beers on the bus. So that was our incentive, and I guess it was what made us tick. So definitely can't get away with that now.
No, things have changed big time. But even being a rookie has changed. The rookie initiations back in the day, I think, where some guys would be in prison.
Oh God, yeah, hot box on the bus.
Oh yeah.
I'll be honest. I witnessed that back when I played, and I'm sure it was bigger when you guys played.
Oh, it was crazy back.
You know what? I must have just snuck through the cracks because I never had any sort of things like that happen to us. To me, anyways. Yeah. No, I got lucky. I mean, Ottawa,
that's because Russ is liked. Everybody likes Russ.
Yeah. Everybody takes it easy on me because they feel sorry for me.
Oh, they're
but no, Ottawa, we had a rookie party and everybody, it was like 20 guys having some drinks and everybody took care of everybody and had a good laugh. And after that, we were pretty much on equals. So we never did the.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's why you guys were a winning team.
Yeah. So.
And you played with good hockey players that you had at Zen Konopka, which I know Brooksy knows quite well, and obviously Joe Talbot, which some may know, he didn't really crack getting into the National Hockey League of sorts, but University of Western would know he is. Atlantic City, Alaska would know who he is in the East Coast Hockey League. And of course, yes, I am looking that up online just in case everybody's anywhere ass. But there's you play with some good talent. Brandon Bell, I know Brooksy was telling me how you play with Brandon Bell. He was a former 3rd-round pick of the Leafs. I do know that without looking online because I am sorry to say this out loud to fellow Leaf fans. I guess I'm a sucker for pain. I am a Leaf fan, so obviously following familiarity with the Leafs, but you had such a good, well-put-together team in Ottawa, and obviously I think it started with some good coaching, the chemistry in the locker room, and everything just flowed that year for you guys. Yeah.
Like my first year I played with I think Mark Bell and Dan Tessier. They were 2 really good players as well. And, I was kind of thinking about it and looking at the rosters for the first time in a while. The year that we actually won, my second year actually might have been probably the worst team of the 4 years, but somehow it's like one of those things where everybody sort of has a good time together and you just don't want it to end. So you buckle down a little more, and that was kind of what kept that team rolling in 2001. So it's crazy to think that it's like 20 years ago now, or almost 20 years ago. But yeah, that was a wild ride, and that was the year where we were supposed to like maybe get out of the first round and just manage to just string some good hockey together. But it was a fun couple months playing those playoffs, that's for sure.
Yeah, and then you guys won it that year, did you not?
Yeah, we won it in 2001, and then my last year when I was overage, we lost in the finals to Kitchener, and I think they had they had like Mike Richards, Steve Eminger, we had some good players, but they were far and away better than we were. I think we won the first game in overtime, and after that, they just dominated us for 4 games, and then they went on and dominated the Mem Cup too. So, but I
guess that
I was lucky to play on some good teams there. That's for sure.
You mentioned you play with Mark Bell. Obviously, that's a former top 10 pick with
Chicago.
Yeah. If I remember correctly. So it's Mark, such a special talent. He played in Stratford, a team that to a lot of the junior ranks here. He played a season there, and he didn't really tear it up hugely in Stratford. Yes, he was younger, playing with older guys, which is a big part of it. But he looked like he was a type of player that just developed as he went. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he got better and better each year. Like, you look at his first year in the 20 points, 65 games. Yes, now I'm looking at stats again. Yeah. But you go forward, you pulled up going forward, you got 60 points, then 70 points in his last year, 55 in between that. Then he jumps up to the AHL, and he gets 42 points. Then Chicago calls him up. He does very well in Chicago. He has a pretty good little time in Chicago before moving on to San Jose, then, of course, to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And, you know, a lot of that's how what we're seeing a lot of nowadays, actually, is a lot of the late bloomers. Obviously, unless you're Connor Bedard, who just went first overall to the Regina Pats, where you're, you know, an exceptional talent, or you're the Connor McDavid when he went to Erie when you were 15. There's generational talent, but there's also late blooming talent. And this is Mark. He was over 6 feet. He was just over 220 pounds, big guy, and he was able to put up numbers, which back in that playing day, when you had that size, that was big. If you could put the puck in the net and have size, you were a top player on the ice.
Oh yeah, I think, like, my last year we had Corey Locke and Matt Foy, who were like pretty awesome duo. I think they each had 50 or 60 goals apiece and just a shit ton of points. But I think Mark Bell was the best all-around player I played with in junior. He did everything, and, you know, like, even back then, like, it was nothing for him to go score a couple goals and then beat the shit out of somebody too. So, like, he was good. I think he had his last year in junior, when I guess that would have been my first year. He had a concussion towards the end of the year, and that kind of, once he got hurt, he got hurt, and Dan Tessier got hurt that year. And that kind of screwed our whole season, because I think we were first in Canada, and up until the end of February, they both got hurt right before playoffs, and that kind of screwed us for that. But yeah, I think Mark Bell is by far the best player, other than Brooksy, that I've played with.
Thanks, appreciate that. Yeah.
You should see him play now, Russ.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah. It's funny because I played with Mark as well. Him and I played together at the Spangler Cup on Canada and in the DEL in Germany. And during the lockout in Germany, just to say, like, he can score but fight. A few of the main NHL guys like Jamie Benn and all those guys came over to Germany, and Beller beat the shit out of Jamie Benn in one of our games. And Jamie Benn was playing for Hamburg, and we were in Iserlohn at the time. And just to see Beller, like, you know, he seems like a mild-mannered, he's always in control. But when he's time to fight, he's there to show up.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, he was friggin' tough.
Yeah.
It's completely different now than what it truly was, though. And like, Jamie Benn is still a powerhouse in the National Hockey League, but so power forwards are still a thing in the National Hockey League. They can put up big numbers, but it's shied away, and it's almost fair to say that. And this is what you're familiar with, and we'll get into all the playing, but so you see it at the junior level that with the Greyhounds here in town, or you can see it at North Bay, the kids, there's not as much fighting. The chirping hasn't stopped. I think the chirping got worse, to be honest with you. All they do is run their mouth nowadays, it seems like. But at the end of the day, you still have a league that's in a sport that has just got tremendously faster so much over time. And the smaller forwards that had the quote unquote too small to make it, that isn't a thing anymore at all.
No, like, that's the one thing I noticed, like, because I started doing lines in the OHL this year. It's like, I mean, I honestly don't think that a third and fourth liner on our, back when I played or when Brooksy played, would have been anywhere near playing in the OHL these days. Like, the kid, like, everybody just does everything so fast and is so good. Like, there's no big, slow slugs that are just taking up space and having a staged fight here and there. Like, it's I personally think it's much better hockey. It's actually hockey. Like, my brother's goes on YouTube all the time and finds all kinds of old OHL friggin' things, and to look at the caliber back in like the late 90s, early 2000s compared to what it is now. It's like, it's crazy to think that it's actually the same league. I guess it's like comparing the 1980s NHL with what it is now. So
it's literally night and day.
Yeah.
Now you go from Ontario Hockey League and go up to play some semi-professional hockey. You play in the American Hockey League with Grand Rapids, which I know I'm going to segue into Brooksy, which I believe that's where you two got acquainted. Obviously, correct?
No, we didn't know. We never we didn't play there at the same time. Okay. Russ is a lot older than me, if you don't know. But
actually, you know what? Brooksy and I met each other the year before. I think in 07, 08. I was at that earlier in that year, 07, 08. I was at Chicago Wolves camp, and Brooksy was there too. And I think you left camp there and went to Norway or something, eh, Brooksy?
Yeah, I went over to Europe. Yep.
Yeah, so that was the first time I met Brooksy, and then I met him again, I guess, on sat next to each other on a plane back in 2016, I guess. So
yeah,
that was the next time we met each other.
And what'd you think of him when you first met him? Were you like, I want to beat this guy's head in, or what?
Yeah. No comment. No. No, we got along well, like right from the get-go. So
see, and you're a
defenseman. We got a lot in common, and we have a good time together. So
yeah, we spent a lot of time together.
We've been pretty good buddies right from the get-go.
So from practice, you're a defenseman, Brooksy's a forward, and it depends. Obviously, Brooksy's a one-dimensional forward, obviously, from what I've watched in men's league hockey. Nonetheless, okay, in practice, you two must have got a little bit heated or competitive at times. There was always just laughter with you guys when you guys did play. Or
like we work hard and stuff, and I think we both thought that we were hard workers. We probably took pride in that, but like, I would probably usually on a one-on-one with Brooks, I'd probably just back into my own goalie, and then he'd skate down the boards 100 miles an hour and take a clapper. But
that's right. Sounds about right. I wasn't gonna dangle you. It's all about speed and power for me.
Oh yeah. No. It's Brooksy was good though. Friggy is fast, man. How old did you keep playing till, Brooksy? Like 38?
40. I retired at 40 years old.
And he was still buzzing. So
he still does slap bombs all the time. All the time he does slap bombs.
In a no slap shot league, probably.
Yeah.
His hand bucket, you don't miss him on the ice. That's for sure. Now, you have obviously you two have some experience with Brooksy. I'm going to give you the floor to jump in. I've obviously jumped in. I feel like I've taken some spotlight from you here.
No, it's good. Russ and I, we met like you said in 2007 there in 8, but we got to be teammates in the UK in a town called Fife, and it's a little bit of a shit town. It's a little bit of a shit.
Brooksy and I have different opinions of that city.
Yeah. I couldn't handle it. I hated it.
Brooksy hated it.
Oh yeah, it was. But you know what? We actually had a pretty good group of guys, and it was just a different place than I was used to playing. Like it was dark in there. It just. I will say that it was the support in that city was really good. I'll have to say that. For a small town and the support they had, they were really good. But if you were a visiting team coming in, they hated you. They absolutely hated you. And like Russ had a good year, but then his game started to get a lot better, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I found out at the time, my wife at the time, she was giving him little bits of her milk to make him more powerful. So the key is the breast milk.
That's right.
Key for Russ Moyer.
Yeah.
Hey?
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh, you got to get into that now.
So they.
If it's good enough for a baby, it's got to be good.
Sitting around the table drinking breast milk. We didn't do alcohol. We did breast milk.
Her breast milk wasn't the first breast milk I tasted.
Oh. You put some protein powder on there, some pre-workout.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just get jacked up.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it was great to play with Russ. He's the next year. We actually played against each other because I went back to my original team I was with in Glasgow. and Russ ended up being captain there, which was not a surprise at all for me playing against him. But our first game against together, as Russ will know, I could snap a bit at times.
Really?
He kind of gave me an accidental two-hander, and I let him know I did not like it. And and that was one of the way, that was just the way I played. Like, if you didn't bug me or you cheap shot at me, you never hear from me. But if anyone, you did some cheap shots, I was going to make sure you knew about it, whether you were my friend or not. But that's the beauty. Like, Russ and I, no matter what has happened, and we were going to be buddies after that game. And I ended up beating somebody else up that night. But it was a good time and a good place to play. And I was thankful to play with Russ. That's for sure.
Is that how the connection happened with you going there, or did you end up just going there without? Did you guys just end up on the same team ironically, or was that kind of planned?
Yeah, it was totally random.
Random.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Yeah.
See, when you know somebody going there, it just makes things so much better, does it not?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, when you're over in Europe, like I know I played in Sweden for a few years, and they're minimal as far as having imports. So I think for 3 of my 4 years there, I was probably maybe one of 2 imports on the team. So I was a lot of my career, I was going into places not knowing anybody. So, but I mean, it's good because like immediately you got like 20 buddies. So I never found it a problem.
Never any kind of uncomfortable feeling leaving when you went from the OHL up to the professional level, in between all that, playing with Acadia and then going up to playing in the pros. Was it awkward or any kind of uncomfortability going into any sort of new locker room, or was it always just like, nah, you know what, I'm Russ, I got this?
No chance. No, not at all.
No.
Like, I don't know. Like even my first couple of years of junior, they didn't even know if I was a forward or a defense. I just played wherever there was someone injured, I'd fill in. And then it was basically like that at university too. And then after that, as I asked, screw it, I'll go. If I had a chance to go play hockey for one more year, have a good time, that's basically all I wanted to do. And I remember when I went to Chicago Wolves camp, it was I got hurt like last game of the season at Acadia. Didn't work out the whole summer up until maybe a couple weeks before, and then I got an invite there, and I was like, nah, sure, might as well go. I probably embarrassed myself there, but got into shape and then got a little bit of American League action during the year. But no, it's never been too easy for me, I don't think. not the biggest defenseman, not the fastest of skaters, so just
simple and tape to tape.
Oh yeah, I can make a breakout pass, so that kind of helps. Or I used to be able to.
It's that breast milk.
Yeah, it might be.
Exactly.
It gets the mind going. That's probably what it's best for, is the mind.
I almost called the title of this segment the breast milk segment now. That's usually when I make a title up. If you look at our previous editions here on the game, we got the juggernauts. We got the big ticket is the ones that we did. I might have to put Russ Moyer, the breast milk.
Breast milk.
Yeah, changed his career.
Great title. Everyone will be like, what the heck is this with the breast milk?
Yeah.
See, and obviously you were in Denmark, Sweden, obviously playing over in Fife. What was it like playing in different kind of places in Europe?
Oh, I love playing in Scandinavia. Denmark was a great experience for the first time getting over in Europe. The hockey was decent. Fans were really good, and Denmark's an absolutely great country. All the people there are awesome. They like to have a good time, have some beers, and don't take anything too seriously. And it was an easy transition. And then Sweden, everybody's great there, but far more serious about their hockey. And after my 4th year there I played in Karlskrona, and we qualified up to the Swedish League. I kind of had enough of Swedish hockey. It's definitely a grind. It was like you're at the rink for 5, 6, 7 hours a day, workout, practice, workout, video, this, that, and the other thing. And
that's the thing with Sweden.
Yeah, but at the same time, I wouldn't have traded being in Sweden for anything. Like, to go there and watch those guys work day in and day out, like, they are absolute machines. They never complain. And as much as they don't fight people or anything like that, they're like some of the toughest hockey players, like fearless shot blockers. Like, they work the boards. Like, people like, like you see a guy like Forsberg and everything, like how dominant he was in the corners throughout his career. It's like they relish those like one-on-one battles, even though they're not going to drop the gloves and fight somebody. They're tough hockey players. I got a lot of respect for the Swedes.
That's why I find Sweden nowadays, they're getting better every year, and for being such a small country, and the work ethic and the hockey players they produce in such a small country is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and that goes to their work ethic, and like they have an excellent skills development, and like their national program teams are, it helps when your country's like everywhere in your country's like an hour and a half, 2 hour flight away. Whereas Canada, you're so spread out. It's kind of a shit show, especially if you're living in Northern Ontario, you're even further behind the 8-ball. But like, I was just looking at the roster from that last year. Like, we were like a team of like a bunch of scrubs that no one kind of wanted, and we're thrown together. And then I'm looking through it, and it's like there's like one guy that played in the NHL this year. We got like three other guys that have KHL experience after that. Like another 4 that are Swedish Elite League players, a few guys in Swiss A. So it's like a lot of guys that we had a really good coach that year that he kind of leapfrogged a lot of guys' careers. It was kind of the plateau of mine, but because I was older, I think I might have been the oldest on the team that year, but there was a lot of young guys that they just took like leaps and bounds that year. It was like so much fun to watch. I went from like sort of started the season as a offensive guy to just kind of watching them do their thing, and I just killed penalties and blocked shots, and it was one of my funnest hockey seasons.
See, a lot of things with Swedes is that look at Elias, kind of the talent that is coming up. Again, Elias Pettersson's a big, tall guy, is all skin and bones though, but I'm sure he's shredded like he's just probably built like a truck, even though he's not physically like that. That's where a lot of comments from the Swedes have come. Their workouts, their work ethic, their speed in their hands. Like you can refer to Peter Forsberg as the one, obviously, that you said earlier. Like there's a lot of impact in Sweden has come from the players like the Peter Forsbergs and those Nick Lindströms and all that. Swedes have always been good at hockey. Boris Salming, if you want to go back to the 80s, now I'm really everything. But at the end of the day, the Sweden hockey and European hockey is catching up to the Canadian hockey and the North American hockey, it seems like, because that is what North American hockey is transitioning, is European style type game. And on top of that, they're trying to the Europeans, if you want to consider Sweden, you want to consider Finnish. I really got my eye on a lot of Finnish prospects. I think Finland's going to be a dominant hockey nation soon, if they already are considered one of the top. So I think they're going to surpass. It's just the development over there. It seems like it's going along faster than what it is here in Canada. Now, I know you can look at Connor Bedard and look at all these exceptional talents that are coming up, but we don't see all the news that's over in Sweden. We don't see all the news that's over there in Germany, Finland, and obviously you being in Sweden and Denmark and seeing these European kind of transitions, what they do with workouts and everything, it's night and day than what they do over here. Yeah, no, and I think another big thing is their sort of like professional system. Like, we don't have that. It's like you could play with the same organization your whole life. You could start as an 8-year-old and play all the way till you're 35 professionally. And when you're a good 16-year-old player and you have the opportunity to practice with professional men, like, it can only benefit you. So like, that is a big thing. Their contracts in Sweden are 12-month contracts. So they get a couple weeks off at the end of the year and a couple weeks off in July. But other than that, they're working out together as a team. And a lot of the teams have NHLers that, whether it's from like a guy like Landeskog that was a Djurgården guy before he went over to Kitchener. They come back, they're training with Djurgården or whichever team, and then they're skating because the Swedes get on ice in August, and they have the NHLers skate with their teams even though it's training camp.
So just to have to be on the ice with the best players at a young age. And like, I can only imagine being like a 16, 17-year-old and all of a sudden, you got this basically NHL all-stars are working out with you and skating with you. Like, it'd be such an eye-opener.
It'd be inspiring too, because it's like, this guy's right beside me. Just shows that, there is opportunity from where you are right now to get to where you're going.
Yeah. And a lot of the time you see a player on TV, you think they're so much better or whatever. And then you get on the ice and the difference between a really good NHL player and an average American League player isn't as huge as you might think. So if you're a good, Swedish player that's 18, 20 years old, and you're out there skating with an NHL player, you're like, shit, I'm not as far away as I thought I am.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep working at this and give her a go. And I think that's probably a big reason their success.
See, and that's where, you could probably attest to in the OHL, you must have seen a different role in your career come up over time, right? And this ties into everything where maybe in junior hockey, you're that go-to defenseman, right? Or go-to forward. You go play at university level, same thing as the OHL, essentially have the same kind of role potentially, right? But then as soon as you jump in to play in the American Hockey League, then jump in overseas, never mind just to the American Hockey League, to the IHL and everything, it's just different roles come with each team that you go on, and that's what makes the team flow and work. And over there, playing in the Swedish and playing in Denmark, did you notice anything with your game that changed role-wise, like as you developed in your career?
My career kind of went in ways. It felt like a couple of years I'd be playing offensive, and then maybe it didn't start a season off too great, and next thing you know, I'm playing shutdown defense type role. So when it comes down to it, I get like you got to be kind of willing to do what you can to make yourself useful and make yourself being able to contribute to a team, whether it's running a power play or blocking shots on a penalty kill and clearing the front of the net.
Yeah, that's how you have to adapt. I find as to be a professional athlete for a long time, your role is going to change probably 5-6 times throughout your career or more. Like I remember when I was first coming up in the AHL, I was put on the fourth line. And my job, they didn't care if I scored. They wanted me to forecheck, dump the puck, and hit everyone that I could. And, if a fight happened, it happened. But, coming from being a, first line guy in the East Coast League, then to go to be a fourth line guy up in the American Hockey League for the 1 year. And then the next year, I'm on the top two lines back to doing the normal role. But you have to be able to adapt. And at that time, if you're not willing to step into those other roles, you're done. They'll just interchange you. And next thing you know, your career is 5 years long instead of 20 years long because you don't adapt. And
it makes me think of like a guy like that I played with in Ottawa, Corey Locke. Like Brooksy, I think you would have played against him maybe a bit in the American League.
I know who he is, yeah.
He's a 150-point guy in the always point a game in the American League, but never got a chance because it seems like it's sometimes those players that are continually in those second, third line roles, they're the ones that can make those jumps. They can adapt to a role better, whereas if you're always been a scorer, it might be a little tougher to accept a different role and to fit into a new role. Like, if you're scoring your whole life and then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you're going to be chipping the puck in and going to run a guy on the forecheck and staying on the ice for 20 seconds and get off so that a guy can, whether the guy that's replacing you is better than you or not, but that's just the way it is. And if you can't accept that, then it's tough to keep climbing leagues, I guess.
Was it tough to realize that once you get into the end of your career, I was like, shit, it's over? Were you accepted of it?
Oh yeah, my last couple of years, I was I felt like I slowed down quite a bit after I left Sweden. I don't know why, but and I kind of, I think I went to Sheffield in the UK. They had a couple of good offensive defensemen that had been playing there for a few years. So I was just, guess I'll just kill penalties and D up and make some breakout passes and do my thing, be a good teammate, be a good leader. And I think that's kind of something that I always pride myself on, is trying to have the respect to my teammates. And I think if, like Brooksy will say, it's like the one thing I respect most about any teammate that I had is this guy that's willing to stand in front of shots. Like that's when you can really know who's got some balls and who's willing to do, because it's such a selfless act, and it's, you realize quickly who the guys are that care about the team rather than themselves when you're asked to block shots.
Let's get right, Brooks?
Yeah. Well, I think my block shotting career ended when I took one right to the face and broke my whole face. And ever since then, I'm like, I'm not going to block this one.
Yeah. That never happened to me, so I was all right.
Yeah. No, but Russ, getting off of your playing career, and I want to talk a little bit about right now being a linesman in the OHL.
Yeah,
because I think that's pretty amazing. That you've gone on and stayed in the sport. You're also a police officer now. I just want to talk a little bit about what made you decide to get back into the hockey of reffing and or being a linesman in the OHL in North Bay there.
Well, I think I played last year. Like, I played one men's hockey tournament, and I think I quickly realized that I was done with playing men's hockey tournaments. It just frustrated the hell out of me. And then in North Bay, there's not many ex-players, and the OHL is looking for ex-players to sort of line or ref to be able to keep up to the play and have a good feel for the game. So last spring, I was invited to a camp. I had never reffed. I freaking hate refs, but never reffed a second in my life. And I went to a camp, and then from there, I got invited to the OHL camp and skated around there and watched a few videos of how to be a linesman and where to go and what to do, and listened to some people with some more experience. And so
and now you're a linesman.
Yeah, no, it was kind of wild. Like, I had never had the stripes on for any like organized hockey game in my life until I went to police college in the fall, got home, and the first weekend home I did on the Friday night, I lined one of the NOJHL Tier 2 games. And then on Sunday, I was lining the OHL game. So I was thrown to the wolves early, and I don't think I embarrassed myself. I don't think anybody noticed. So it was fun. But it's like the most fun I've had in hockey in a long time. Like, it's, you get to see, even like I have a great time like doing novice and Atom games, seeing kids having fun. Like, I think it's a blast, and it's I guess a way to give back to the sport. I have no ambitions of coaching because I don't want to deal with parents. So it's perfect way to stay in the game. And it's kind of funny. You mess up a call in an Atom A game, and parents are yelling at you, calling you an idiot, and it almost feels like old times where we're visiting crowd is, calling you a pussy. So,
your language.
Back old memories.
I think when people listen to this, if they see you lining or repping an OHL game, they might start bringing breast milk to the rink and throwing it on the ice.
Throwing baby bottles on the ice for me.
Yeah. Go ahead there, Dave.
No, Brooksy, you're first.
No, I was just going to say, like, is there I know you're doing the lines, but have you thought about, are you going to consider reffing at all? Or are you going to just stick to the lines, do you feel?
I like going from blue line to blue line and dropping some pucks. I don't want to be the guy that's making decisions to define the game. I did a couple of like midget AAA games with the bands on, and not too much fun.
Nice.
Wow. I like going. It's like doing the OHL game is a good workout too, and it's keeps you in the game, and you're chirping with the guys and shooting the shit with them, and it's like, it's a good time.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
That's like when you jump into doing a lot of like the reffing side of things, right? It's kind of a different side of the game and a whole different perspective. And maybe as much as you say you disliked refs, maybe you have a bit more respect at the end for the refs at the end of the day now, right? It's because it's hard to keep up or hard to notice everything that's on the ice, especially now and how fast the game is.
Well, I had no clue the amount of all the stuff you had to think of. Like, I just assumed a linesman stood on a blue line, and holy shit, like, my head was spinning the first few times I did it, trying to think of all the stuff that you had to do. But you definitely have a lot of respect for the people. And, you know, I honestly believe that every friggin' minor hockey coach should have to take a refereeing course and try to referee a hockey game and see how difficult it is, even for like 8 and 9-year-olds. And I think they'd have a lot more patience when it comes to people that are trying to officiate a hockey game, because they're making like $20 a game or whatever for an hour, but you know, it's still not enough money to be belittled by some parents that are being
so all the parents out there that are listening, please do not yell at Russ, because he's gonna buckle.
Well, the thing is, the thing is, I don't mess up calls either, eh?
Yeah, because you're perfect. The perfect man.
Oh, yeah, the perfect man.
Well, thank you so much, Russ. I really
Brooksy,
appreciate you taking the time.
I got one more thing to tell you, buddy.
Oh boy, here it is.
So guess what?
What?
I found out about 4 hours ago that I'm having a baby boy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Now that is great news.
Yeah.
Are you gonna name it Brendan?
Russ
Jr. Name him Brendan.
No.
Well, that's great news, and we'll send my best to Patty. And that's just fantastic. So we're gonna have a little Moyer on us.
Oh yeah, look out!
A future OHL player, maybe European, that he's reffing after.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to get him to the Sioux. That's what we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to get him drafted to the Sioux somehow.
Yeah, get him on the house development system for sure.
Well, thank you. That's great news to hear, and I can't thank you enough for your time.
Hey, anytime.
So Brooks, you did a great job with the segue there. I'll say it as well, Russ. I couldn't thank you enough for taking the time. Brooksy, I want to say thank you to you too, because you know what? You have you're bringing in a lot of interviews and a lot of guests to our show. A lot of the guests that we are getting, actually, I should just be flat out honest. The guests that we are getting is all you, and it's great to have entertaining guys like Russ and hear these storylines and just shoot the shit, if you will, especially during a time where entertainment is needed and where we need to kill some time, because all that we have is our houses and quarantined, especially if you're Brooksy, you're stuck really inside. So Russ,
I'm really stuck.
Yes. Russ, I'll even say thank you very much on behalf of myself, the game, and I know all the listeners and viewers certainly were entertained and appreciated you having you on.
Well, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me anytime.
This is the Game Sports Show, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. And also, should remind, this is not just the Game Sports Show, it's the Game Entertainment and Media as well. And here on the Game Sports Show, the special edition was powered by our broadcasting partner and partners, ESPN 1400 and on TV, and all of our sponsors on the Game Sports Show, in particular with Compass Imaging Group and Demansky Office Interiors, rate as I shouted out on the top of the show. Make sure you check them out on social media and check out their recent promotion that we posted on our Facebook page. I must give a special out to all of our additional sponsors again as well: Northern Superior Brewing Company, Sports Center Bar and Grill, North Shore Sports and Auto, Northern Critters in Need, and Thrush Creative Co. And if you're checking this out on our website, Thrush Creative Co. with Aaron Robinson, this guy is phenomenal. Our new website, a lot of rebranding going on this year with the Game Sports Show and the newly named the Game Entertainment and Media Company, aka GEM. So make sure you keep it locked here on the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. We have many more special edition shows coming up, courtesy and thank you of Brendan Brooks. And again, thank you to Russ Moyer for joining us on our breast milk edition.
Powered by
breast milk.
Powered by breast milk. Now, we will have more special editions, as I mentioned. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And if you'd like to even reach out to Russ, or if you want to reach out to myself or Brendan, don't hesitate to comment below on that as well. And here, wrapping up the Game Sports Show. Until next time, I'm here to remind you, before I get to the conclusion, to hashtag stay the fuck home and hashtag wash your hands. Please, for the love of God, keep your stick on the ice, swing your bat, catch your touchdown, drain your threes, and shoot your shots. Booyah.